Well, welcome to the first podcast of this series. This is basically going to be a test podcast, if you will. I'm going to be talking about the new series that we're going to be starting for NewsInGeneral.com, where you can find it, when you can watch it, and what it's going to be about. So some of you may know me. I'm Jason Goyette, the owner of NewsInGeneral.com. I've been researching and into the conspiracy paranormal world since I was about 15, and I'll be 26 in December of this year. So I've been into the conspiracy realm quite a while, and I find it very intriguing. So I figured we'll start a podcast up for NewsInGeneral.com based around conspiracy paranormal world. We haven't really figured out a good name for it yet. I'm thinking along the lines of ConPara podcast. So the ConPara podcast is what it's going to be titled until we can come up with a better name. If you have any suggestions, I'd recommend you guys commenting below and letting us know what you guys think for a good name. But it's basically going to be around the conspiracy world, around the paranormal world, talking about paranormal events, conspiracy theories, etc., etc. So if anything falls under those categories or those fields, we will definitely be discussing it. So I've had a Facebook page for quite some time, quite a long time actually, like 2010. It's called the Ultimate Conspiracy and Paranormal Society. Now this page was basically based on my blog that I had, my first blog ever, and it was called UCAPS, which stood for Ultimate Conspiracy and Paranormal Society. And I just I admired it over the idea of it, just playing around with the idea and really thinking hey, this could be something really cool. I want to start a show on this eventually. As time went on, I just kind of dwindled the idea of it, and I moved on to different things. But I still had the passion, still had the ideas floating around in my head. Still, find interest in UFOs and conspiracies and the paranormal realm. I go to the page every now and then, check it out. But that's all I really do with regarding the conspiracy and paranormal world. However, I do watch videos and read articles on latest events and latest occurrences and stuff. But I figured I'm really passionate about it, and I know people out there are and would like to maybe listen to what I have to talk about and what latest news regarding the paranormal and conspiracy world. So I figured we'll start a podcast up for NewsInGeneral.com, which you can basically find on our website. It's kind of hard to get to right now because we haven't figured it all out yet. But if you go to NewsInGeneral.com and click on media, or just not click on it, but hover over the media tab, you'll see where it says podcast in the drop-down menu. You can click on that and it'll bring you over to our podcast client, which is Spreaker, which I find an okay client, but we can do better. So right now I'm actually not using Spreaker. I am using Audacity, and I'm not recording this live. This is just a recording on my desktop, which I will then edit and then upload. Like I said, it's just a test, so it's a first in its series. But I'm looking to do this probably twice a week. And I've created a schedule over on our News in General closed group. So if you're a member of that group, there's only 14 members of it. But if you're a member of that group, you can go ahead and take a look at it. It's pinned up on the first post you'll see. It says ConPara podcast schedule. So basically, like I said, it's going to be around conspiracy and paranormal events from around the world. We're not just sticking to the United States. The podcast will basically consist of discussions and theories, information sharing, evidence dissection, and guests. Yes, I hope to get guests eventually. But it's going to make it kind of difficult. So what I did was I basically broke up the series into 2 shows each week. So Monday, 7 to 8 a.m. we'll have a non-live show. So basically the night before, which would be Sunday night, I will try to get some guests on and record a podcast from 7, probably an hour long podcast. Record that non-live recording, and then upload it Monday morning around 7 to 8 a.m. That way you can listen to it while you're going to work or getting ready for whatever it is you're doing. And then Thursdays will be the live show, the live podcast that we'll be doing. Now that I'm going to try to get at 8 to 9 p.m., so at nighttime. So we'll have a show in the morning and we'll have a show at night throughout the week. But there's only going to be 2 shows, one live and one non-live, based around the conspiracy and paranormal world. So yeah, let me know what you guys think of that idea, of those times. I'm definitely looking forward to this podcast, and I can't wait to get into exploring with you guys a conspiracy and paranormal world. Like I said, I've been in this world for around, say, 10, 11 years. So I have some experience with this type of thing, whether it be crash sites, UFO sightings dating back to the 1800s, Bible references to UFOs and extraterrestrials, ancient aliens, you name it. The list can go on and on. And I'm not going to name off everything that I have experience with and knowledge of, but let's just say I've been in it for a while, and I've actually had some success back then when I first started it, back when I was 15. Started researching and talking to people. I actually had a MUFON investigator come to my house and talk to me. That was very interesting, very cool. I was kind of a little excited when it happened, because I was just getting into it and learning about MUFON and all the reporting agencies and the field investigators and whatnot. But yeah, it was about a sighting I had. My whole family actually had it, and I was just blown away by what happened that night. And from ever since then, I've researched, I've delved into the world head on, finding any information that I can, and the past few years I've kind of dwindled off, like I said, and took a break from it. But like I also said, I did research and still look at articles and current events and whatnot, and just to get the current news. But that's what we're here to talk about, is the current news, the current events that happen in the conspiracy world. One thing that I have noticed is a lot of news agencies, CNN, NBC, so on and so forth, don't really report on the conspiracy and paranormal events that happen, and I do believe they fit under the news category, if I'm not mistaken. In my opinion, they fit under the news category and are pretty important in some cases. So I think we should talk about those and get those events and happenings out there to the public. So that's what this point of this podcast is to basically, like I said, just discuss, theorize, share, dissect, and talk with guests about what's going on in the conspiracy and paranormal realm. So one of the things that I'd like to talk about is it's an opinion piece, but it's about Bigfoot. There's been a lot of TV shows about Bigfoot and hunting Bigfoot, and there's been some where they actually hunt Bigfoot in order to shoot or trap them, and they've had no luck yet. I mean, there's plenty of evidence out there saying, "Oh, we've got Bigfoot," but yeah, it's been proven a fake or a fraud or whatever. In my opinion, I don't think we should be looking at Bigfoot in a sense of trying to kill him or trap them. More of an experiment, gain knowledge from Bigfoot, basically. Because if you think about it, the idea of Bigfoot, Sasquatch, has been around longer than man has. So even before caveman days, Bigfoot was on this earth in some form or another. Just like man, apes and gorillas and so on and so forth, they evolved too. So maybe at one point Bigfoot wasn't so big, and maybe he evolved, or it evolved into what we know today as the abominable snowman, Bigfoot, Sasquatch, swamp ape, whatever you want to call it. It could be just variations of the beast. So yeah, that's my opinion on it. We shouldn't be looking at Bigfoot in order to kill him. We shouldn't be hunting Bigfoot to kill it. Well, I keep saying him. But we shouldn't be looking at Bigfoot in a way where we're going to hunt it and display it on our mantelpiece or on our wall or whatever. we should want to capture Bigfoot or find the evidence of Bigfoot in order to gain knowledge of where they came from, of what they are, where they came from, how they evolved, because knowing Bigfoot may be the missing link, may be able to give us more knowledge in our own evolution and where we came from. So yeah, that's how I look at Bigfoot. And there's a big Discovery TV show that where they go out and try to kill Bigfoot or trap it. And honestly, we should just go out, videotape it, gain knowledge of it, how it interacts with its peers, and just try to, like I said, gain samples, gather samples of the den or where they live or how they catch their food and how they communicate and so on and so forth. But trying to kill Bigfoot just to get a prize or just to be like, oh, we finally found Bigfoot, but we killed it, We would learn more if we left Bigfoot alone and just studied it from afar, like we do with the African savannas and lions and stuff. We would learn more doing it that way than killing the beast and then getting its DNA and so on and so forth. I think we'd learn a lot more about Bigfoot if we were to study it from afar and gather samples. Maybe even tranquilize it at one point, but I think it'll take a pretty big dose of juice to put down the Bigfoot, so to speak. But yeah, so that's the type of podcast that we're going to be doing, talking about Bigfoot, Sasquatch, abominable snowman, whatever you want to call him. Giants, the ancient giants that have been discovered, the skeletons and so on and so forth. A lot of the conspiracy stuff and kind of alternative, far alternative news and media topics. So yeah, I just figured we'll do this just to see how it turns out. This is just, like I said, a test podcast. It's not going to be anything special. And I just wanted to see how well everything turns out. So that's the idea of the ConPara podcast. I gave you the schedule. I gave you the categories, the topics we're going to be talking about. For more information on that, you can go to our website, NewsInGeneral.com, and we'll try to get a more description, a more in-depth description of what the podcast is going to be about. So yeah, thank you guys for taking a listen to this podcast. I was about to say thank you for watching, but it's not a video, it's a podcast. And we'll see you guys next time. Oh, one quick thing, if you guys want to join in as a guest for Sunday night around 7 to 8 or 8 to 9 for the podcast talking about conspiracies and paranormal events, be sure to comment below or email me. It's jason@newsingeneral.com. You can email me there. I'm going to be in charge of producing the podcast and so on and so forth. So yeah, hopefully we can get the co-owner, co-grouper in some of these podcasts. I look forward to that, and we will catch you guys next time and what it's going to be about. So some of you may know me. I'm Jason Goyette, the owner of NewsInGeneral.com. I've been researching into the conspiracy paranormal world since I was about 15, and I'll be 26 in December of this year. Well, welcome to the first podcast of this series. This is basically going to be a test podcast, if you will. I'm going to be talking about the new series that we're going to be starting for NewsInGeneral.com. Where you can find it, when you can watch it. I'm thinking along the lines of ConPara podcast. So the ConPara podcast is what it's going to be titled until we can come up with a better name. If you have any suggestions, I'd recommend you guys commenting below and letting us know what you guys think for a good name. But it's basically going to be around the conspiracy world, around the paranormal world, talking about paranormal events, conspiracy theories, etc., etc. So if anything falls under those categories or those fields or so, I've been into the conspiracy realm quite a while, and I find it very intriguing. So I figured we'll start a podcast up for NewsInGeneral.com based around conspiracy paranormal world. We haven't really figured out a good name for it yet.